Hello, my name is Neha and I work as a governance specialist at CAMRADATA. I'm going to speak to you about pension scheme investment governance and why it is important. As a trustee of a pension scheme, you are responsible for other people's money. You will understand the importance that this role has in ensuring that the scheme's investments are well managed. This training session is designed to show you what this means. We have helped trustees of over 100 pension schemes to focus on key issues and implement tools that improve investment governance. So what do we believe trustees should be spending their time on? Key responsibilities can be broken down into 4 areas: risk management, strategy, people, communication and engagement. Let's look at each of these areas in turn. Risk management. The trustees need to control the risks faced by a scheme. Identifying risks is only the start, and more importantly, trustees need to manage these risks. In order to increase the value of the assets, your scheme will need to take on risk, and assessing whether the scheme is being compensated adequately for these risks is vital. Trustees need to be fully aware of how to mitigate unnecessary risks and how to quantify risks to prioritize those which are most important. Investment decision risk tends to be the area of investment risk that dominates trustees' time. This is the risk associated with choosing where to invest money. Let's look at a real example of why this is not necessarily ideal, using the events that followed the collapse of the investment bank Lehman Brothers in 2008. The security of all assets came under great scrutiny at this time. After the collapse, it emerged that people who were most at risk were those whose custodians had lent their cash to Lehman's. Being aware of risks surrounding the custody of assets usually takes a back seat, but after the Lehman collapse, many trustees were frantically checking to see what their custodians' policies and procedures were. Interestingly, more than 10 years back, these same issues had come to the forefront when Nick Leeson broke Barings Bank in 1995. Many schemes would have instigated policies at this time to safeguard against future problems, but as the importance of this risk faded into the background, so did many of these policies. These are rare events that occurred over a decade apart, but the underlying reason for both can be laid at the failure of good governance on behalf of both organizations. How do you as trustees manage to keep an eye on such underlying risks in the time that you have available? With intelligent use of exception reporting, it is possible to create a document that is quick to review and highlights any issues that need to be focused on. This kind of report will direct you to the issues that require attention, saving you a substantial amount of time that can be used to deal with other aspects of running of the pension scheme. Strategy. The investment strategy framework involves defining the investment objective as well as the interactions between scheme advisors and investment managers, and establishing who has responsibility for what. A clearly defined set of investment objectives allows you to measure whether you, the advisors, and the investment managers have effectively managed the scheme's investments. These objectives are also the framework that you, with the help of your investment advisor, operate within to set an appropriate asset allocation for your investments. You can then select suitable investment funds within each asset class to achieve your aim. However, the objectives should also be the framework by which you monitor whether the investment decisions made are succeeding on an ongoing basis. This will highlight any problems that arise so that the trustees can determine whether any action needs to be taken. By implementing a clearly defined strategy and also putting in place tools to keep it on track, you can effectively address this area. Let us move on to the third area of responsibility: people. Trustee boards should regularly ask themselves questions such as, do we have sufficient skill on our board? And if not, how do we get it? How do we organize ourselves? And are we efficient in our processes and decision making? The training and education of trustees plays a large part in ensuring the scheme is well managed. Being able to understand how the scheme investments are supposed to work means you can construct an effective investment strategy and also challenge the investment managers. We would suggest using the pension regulator's Trustee Knowledge and Understanding Toolkit and arrange specific training on investment topics. External people who interact with the trustees should also come under scrutiny. such as investment managers, custodians, administrators, and investment consultants. Trustees should set up clear mandates and ensure they are well understood, as well as provide regular exception reporting to identify when issues are emerging. We also produce leading-edge analysis on both the performance of investment managers and advisors. This gives insight into the key drivers of returns and inherent risks, as well as checking whether these are consistent with the specified mandate and expectations. Our approach helps focus the time spent on the issues that matter. The final points are communication and engagement. Communicating and engaging with your stakeholders matters. You must demonstrate how well you are doing as guardian of the scheme's assets. We suggest using communication tools to help prevent a misalignment of interests. Every scheme has to produce a statement of investment principles and annual accounts. And so, if nothing else, these could be used to provide a valuable insight into the scheme for your members. Consultation with a sponsor is a legal requirement. Try making the most of this process by demonstrating exactly how you are doing a good job as guardians of the scheme. Consider a regular reporting framework for both members, maybe in the form of an annual newsletter, and the sponsor, a quarterly update report, for example. In particular, we have found that regular communication with the sponsor about the scheme's strategy and performance significantly increases their willingness to support future investment ideas proposed by the trustees. I hope that this presentation has clarified what we mean by governance, and as importantly, demonstrated some of the ways in which it can add significant value to a scheme. So summing up, what should you take away from this session, and how should you apply it to your scheme? Think about some of the points we have raised during your next meeting. Ask yourselves questions such as, are all trustees engaged in the decision-making process? Are you clear on what those processes are? And are you focusing on the risks that matter and monitoring these? Effective investment governance is there to help provide a framework to enable the scheme to achieve its aims and better manage the risks involved. Spend time where value is going to be added through the use of clearer goals, better use of people, improved risk management, and cascade this through targeted information for stakeholders. If you would like help with investment governance or more detail on any of the issues we have raised in this session, please do not hesitate to contact us.